Hello and welcome to Prospecting Genius. I'm Daniel Collison, Managing Partner with Advice to Advisors, training and coaching firm for financial advisors. And the agenda for this program, this 5-point series, is very simple. It's all about growth, how the best of the best, the world-class advisors, grow their businesses. And what we've learned over the years with all the research we've done and the secondary research we've looked at are the best of the best have two different levels of confidence. The first is mindset. It's what they believe they can do. It's really the confidence they have in themselves. And over the next sessions, we're going to be looking at, first of all, the growth mindset. This absolute necessity of constantly learning. The best of the best, these world-class advisors understand that they have to be students of the business. So their growth mindset, as Carol Dweck from Stanford University has termed it, is paramount to always holding the confidence in self. Secondly, the whole concept of begin with the end in mind. Stephen Covey, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, his second habit, begin with the end in mind, really sets the financial advisor up to move forward into the future, look at what the business is going to look like at point of sale when that advisor in fact wants to sell their business. They say, what do I want the business to look like? Who do I want to be working with? What do I want the structure to be when I come to sell this business? And then they work backwards. In other words, it's all about goal setting, moving into the future, setting the structure, setting the way we think things should be in the future, and working backwards. For you newer financial advisors, a lot of this has already been done by these world-class advisors. Just take a look at the financial advisors in your office, those top end, those best of the best advisors. They can potentially be your best mentors. At least you could take some of the best strategies, some of the best goals they've set for themselves, some of the ways they've structured their companies, their practices, their businesses, and you can use those as models for you to begin with the end in mind. But having that set, you can move confidently once it's been structured backwards. You can then move confidently into the future knowing where you're going to go versus the average financial advisor who really is just taking the shotgun approach, hoping something succeeds, not really knowing what they're shooting at. And in fact, this tends to be the number one reason why there's such a dropout rate in our industry, upwards of 80% in the first 5 years fail in this business, and it's because there is no end goal. Then we're going to be looking at strengths. What are the personal strengths of these individuals that really do achieve high-end expectations, high-end goals, and they do become the top of the industry? These are the people that you read about, the people you hear about, those that are always putting up the biggest, the best numbers, and they're doing it in a way that you say, that's what I want my business to look like. So when we look at strengths, the University of Pennsylvania, VIA strengths, we're looking at characteristic strengths. And in fact, the vast majority of world-class advisors inherently know what their strengths are. But in the coming sessions, we're going to talk about the science of strengths and in fact show you how you can find out what your top strengths are, ranked from 24 to 1, and look at working with your top 5 strengths, because we do know for anybody, financial advisors or any other profession, if you're constantly leading with your top 5 personal character strengths, first of all, it's easier to live an authentic life, and you tend to be leading with what people are going to buy, your strengths, your personality, what you do best with. Finally, we're going to talk about passion. We're going to look at what really draws clients to these world-class advisors. And I'm sure you're aware and you've seen it, hopefully you've got some of it now, passion draws people. Obviously, those that have none draw no people. But we're going to look at the science of passion. We're going to see what it does to help financial advisors move forward. And we're going to look again to the University of Pennsylvania. We're going to look at Angela Duckworth's work in what she calls grit, which is really passion and perseverance over the long term to achieve goals that we set for ourselves. We're going to look at how the best of the best, these world-class advisors, use their passion, use their perseverance. They go with Anders Ericsson's concept of deliberate practice. They do that 10,000 hours of deliberate practice, and that passion drives them forward. And that passion not just drives them, but it attracts those future clients as well. Next, we're going to look at confidence in structure. So if we've got confidence in self, and then we also have confidence in business, we're going to set ourselves up for absolute success. And we know this because this is, in fact, what the world-class advisors do. They've got total confidence in themselves. They've got confidence in the structure that they've set up for their businesses, for their practice, and everything that revolves around their business, they have confidence in. And they're able to go to market with these dual confidences. And in the research we've done in the book I wrote, World Class Advisors, what we look at is Personal CFO Model, the way financial advisors set them up to be the personal CFO for their clients. The fact that virtually all world-class advisors have an ideal client profile, and this is really the only person that they market themselves to and they prospect to. They know their unique value proposition and they go to market with it. And finally, when we talk about the growth of the business, the engine of that growth is the prospecting dashboard, and all financial advisors, world-class financial advisors, have that engine running at peak performance. So let's take a quick look at the personal CFO model. And whether it's this model or something else that they're working, it all comes down to some form of model that they can actually take to the public, they can communicate, and they can show the capabilities of their business to their future clients. So if you've ever read Moshe Milevsky is one of the most written academics on personal finance in the world, and he uses the concept of you Inc., you incorporated. He says individuals should treat their finances like corporations do, and if in fact they did that, he would call it you Inc., you incorporated. So if we take that concept and we say, okay, if our clients are the businesses, we look at them then as the CEOs, or if it's a couple, co-CEOs. Our job as their personal CFOs is to help them qualify and quantify their financial goals. We need to be there to support them, to help them draw out what it is they're looking to achieve, and then put time and money, whatever it is that we need to work and quantify those goals. And once we've got those, then we help build out strategies and structures for them to actually achieve those goals. Under that personal CFO then is lawyers, attorneys, accountants, money managers, insurance specialists, and lenders. Those are the key specialized areas that any personal CFO is going to work with. And we can either work with these clients' existing experts, or we're going to have to bring them to the table. When we're looking at ourselves as world-class, we understand that the whole model for the financial industry is moving to the holistic approach. It's moving away from those silos of banks, trusts, brokerages, and insurance companies where everybody worked in their own silo and they had to leave everything else off the table. That's no longer viable for one reason. First of all, the clients want one-stop shopping. They don't want to have to source out. They don't have to work with numerous advisors who don't necessarily know what the other is doing. So they want that one-stop shop. They do want that personal CFO. They just don't know how to picture it at the moment. And if you're the one bringing that picture to them, you're alleviating a lot of the stress and a lot of the work they're going to have to deal with without you. So from the personal financial advisor's position, that personal CFO, if we can actually get these experts to the table, metaphorically speaking, because we don't always have to have them there, we just have to have them as backstops. We need to be able to use them to build out strategies. For instance, the lawyers and attorneys, if we've got to send our clients to get wills, powers of attorneys drafted, incorporations, matrimonial issues dealt with, whatever it is, we've got the lawyers in place. On the accounting side, quite often it's either setting up business structures or dealing with tax concerns. The money managers, whether it's individual securities, managed money, we could be dealing with pension plans, whatever it is when it comes to money. And in a lot of instances, these personal CFOs, you, the financial advisor, may be licensed in the money side. You're dealing with the investments. You could also be dealing with the insurances if you're dual licensed. Or on the other hand, you've got somebody to deal with either or that you're not licensed to deal with. And that goes with the lender as well. If your institution, your business doesn't actually have a lending arm, you need that person in place, that company in place that can help you and your clients deal on the debt side. Now, the structure is there specifically to help the clients of the personal CFO, those CEOs or co-CEOs. But secondarily, it also helps our financial advisors, and certainly the world-class advisors work this way. Those experts ultimately become centers of influence, and we're going to bring them into the potential of joining our networking group, which we'll be talking about shortly. So this personal CFO model sets it up for us to go to the public, for us to go to market with a structure that we can actually communicate about so that we have confidence in what we're able to do. And again, we don't have to have all these experts in-house. Certainly some of you will have the experts in-house, but you have to have the external experts as well. But when you've got this backing you, you don't have to be the expert in any of these areas necessarily. You have to be the generalist. You've got to be that personal CFO that brings everything to the table for your client. And then again, these experts are going to help us grow the businesses. The one thing you will find about virtually all world-class advisors is they know who their clients are. Specifically, they know their ideal clients. And there's a reason for this. It's easier to become an expert to a specific cohort when you have that cohort in mind. You study, you understand everything about them. You know what their lives are all about. You know what your business in regards to their lives are all about. You have the strategies, you have the structures, and you have the products that you can bring to bear to help them achieve their financial goals. Not only that, when we know who our ideal clients are about, our reticular activating system kicks in, and subconsciously, we're always looking for this ideal client, whereas I'm sure most of you have grown up in the industry, much like I did 30-some years ago, where your branch manager brings you in and says, anybody can be your client. Well, when it's anybody, it actually ultimately becomes nobody because you're an expert to no one. And the one thing we do know about research when it comes to what clients are looking for, it's experts. They want somebody that can focus on them and their financial needs, and that they can bring to the table whatever it is, strategies or product for their specific financial needs. We also know that the public does not believe financial advisors know everything. So the moment we can dispel that and absolutely admit we don't know everything, our ideal client is this, and we work towards achieving their goals. We're specialized in this type of goal setting and goal alleviation, how we get there, and all of our experts are focused on the same type of client. It makes life easier to become an expert. The public will actually accept us as experts more so. And when we go to market, it's easier to find, to market ourselves and to prospect to these ideal clients. The unique value proposition is something a lot of advisors are challenged with. Companies struggle with this. We've seen advisors struggle with, how do I create that unique value proposition? It's simple. Simon Sinek did it on a nice TED Talk, an 18-minute talk on leadership. What he calls his golden circle really, although he didn't anticipate it, I'm sure, as being used with a unique value proposition, it is at the core of how you draft a unique value proposition. First of all, you start with why, which is in fact the title of his book, Start with Why. Why do you do what you do? Why should clients care about what you do? And that why has to be about them, not about you. Then it's how do you do what you do? And finally, what? What is it you do for that ideal client? What is it and how is it and why is it better than the rest of your competition? You've got to be able to communicate that simply. We don't want the elevator speech. We want it to sound sincere. In fact, we want to weave it through our communications. It becomes part of our vernacular so that we just talk about why we do what we want to do, and we talk about it when we're with clients, we talk about it when we're with prospects, and in fact, we just talk about it anytime it makes sense. A UVP is the way an absolute expert or our world-class financial advisor goes to market to communicate exactly what they do. And then we get to what really makes the business run, the prospecting dashboard. When we look at the world-class advisors, they're always growing their businesses. The one thing they understand is that if you're not growing your business is dying. This is absolutely true of the new advisor coming into the business. They have to grow or they're going to die quickly. And again, unfortunately, the statistics are horrible for incoming financial advisors. They don't have the strategies, and mostly they don't have the confidence. They haven't set up the structures to support them. But if we work with these dual confidences, confidence in self, confidence in business, we can then move to the dashboard and actually go to market confidently. And this is what's going to happen and help the new financial advisor. On the other hand, what we've got to deal with are those advisors that have been in the business 15, 20, 30, 40 years who have plateaued and their business isn't growing. And in fact, actually, the business is dying, and literally the business is dying as clients either depart to other advisors or actually pass away. So if your business isn't growing, it's dying. Advisors who are at the world-class level understand this. They never stop prospecting. Some of the ways that they do it is, first of all, they'll have a personal networking group. That's those COIs, those centers of influence that you can draw from a number of different areas, one being your personal CFO model and all the experts within that. We also have then the referability process that we'll work through over the next series, and how the financial advisor, the world-class financial advisor, becomes referable. They don't ask for referrals for the most part. They become referable and get the referrals. They're sent to them. What we do know is that they do target introductions, and they will ask for introductions, but those targeted introductions are actually targeted towards their ideal client profile. They do not want to take on clients that don't fit their business model. So the problem of having the individual that just has nothing to do with the ones you're looking for, whether it's through product, whether it's through strategy, that'll dissipate, and the focus can be on the ideal client, both through referrals and through introductions. And finally, one of the areas of prospecting that most financial advisors, world-class financial advisors, have done and continue to do are seminars and workshops. This is their method of getting out to the market en masse and showing their expertise en masse. So very quickly, I'm going to walk through the different areas that we're going to be looking at over our series, the next 4 workshops that we look at. So we've got the referability process, and we're going to talk about the science of referability. We're going to look at why people will refer you. And it starts with likability, because nobody that doesn't like you is going to refer you. And I've got to say, we've got a lot of clients that don't necessarily like us. They've dealt with us, and that's all well and good. However, we need to be likable, and there's science to that. We need to highlight our UVP, our unique value proposition, but we don't want to sound like it's scripted. We need that UVP to roll off our tongues. It's got to be embedded in the language we use. It's got to be communicated on an ongoing basis. It just becomes part of our vernacular. Then we have to build trust. And the biggest challenge for financial advisors, especially the newer ones, is how do you build trust quickly? Most think that it takes a long time to build trust, but the science would suggest otherwise. We got to look at how do we inspire people, because if we can't inspire them to move forward, we just don't have them as clients. Or if they're already clients and we can't continue to inspire them, if we can't give them confidence, they're not going to stay with us for a long term. We have to make them look good when they do refer people to us, because if something happens and it makes them look bad, that's the end of the referral chain. And finally, we want to continuously advertise our ideal clients so that, in fact, we're not getting the wrong people coming to us by mistake or intention, in fact. Then we're going to look at the targeted introduction process. Here we're going to look at exactly how these world-class financial advisors focus in on who they want, and these people are connected to the existing clients or their existing experts. And it starts with knowing that ideal client, who we want to target to our introductions. So whereas a lot of individuals, in fact, almost all financial advisors have been trained initially to ask for referrals, and that's the typical, who do you know that could use my services? We know through research that for the most part, this makes the client uncomfortable, which ultimately makes the advisor uncomfortable, and it just doesn't work well. We know it doesn't work well. So if we can jettison that old script, that old structure of referrals, become referable, but ask for actual targeted introductions. So we ask for those from our nominators, quite often our clients or our centers of influences. We're going to select how we want to be introduced. And I'm going to show you some scripts on how to do that. We want to set up what goals we have. And my suggestion, and what I see the best of the best do, is every meeting that they hold with a client, they're going to ask for 1 or 2 introductions to ideal clients that are actually attached to those existing clients, whether it's a sibling, a coworker, a parent, whoever it is. They're going to ask specifically so that they're not asking their client, their nominator, to decide who they should be sending towards their investors, to their advisor. And finally, we want to monitor and evaluate this. This isn't as easy as it sounds, yet it can be easy when we do it properly. In other words, we're going to set up a process from the initial contact to the moment that we turn that introduced individual or couple into clients. So it's all very systematic, it's all very process driven. The personal networking group, as I said, can come out of that center of influence from our personal CFO model, but it could be anyone virtually. So instead of actually going to some of these prefabricated network groups, and I know many of you have been involved in them, the feedback that we've gotten over the years is that sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but the typical model is, you meet every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks over lunch or over dinner. You're usually with a group of people you didn't know in the beginning. Yes, there's one financial advisor, there could be an insurance agent, there could be a mortgage broker, a lawyer, whatever it is. Quite often there are professionals in the group that you're not that comfortable with. You wouldn't necessarily refer your clients to them. You might not even have a reason to refer your clients to them. The breakdown of this structure happens constantly, and most people don't stay with these networking groups long term. Some do, some have success, but on the vast majority they don't. So what we see the best of the best do, these world-class advisors, they build their own personal networking group. So this is a cadre of experts that actually focus on the same ideal clients. They actually provide services to those ideal clients. And the whole concept of this personal networking group is to help each other build their businesses, support their businesses, and become referable to each other so that, in fact, you can start to cross-pollinate your client base with their client base and vice versa. So what we're looking to do is ensure that we've got people that we're confident in, we're comfortable with, people that we like. And when you think of this, you've got to think about your own ideal client. How is it that you're going to get people to be referable to you, these ideal clients? It's the same thing with your personal networking group. We want to bring in people that we can refer, they can refer us. We've got to have complete confidence in them, and they must have that same confidence in us. And we build that group around these people, and ultimately we become a self-sourcing methodology of referrals and support from technical and other aspects of the business. And again, finally, as I mentioned, one of my favorite areas of prospecting, and one that most world-class, top of the top financial advisors work with, is public speaking, working either in seminars or in workshops. And there's a number of different ways of how you can get in front of groups of ideal clients. But again, we go right back to the very basics. You've got to know who it is that you're looking to target to be in these workshops and seminars. So you've got to know your target market. You become the expert. So if we're going to work with ideal clients, as already mentioned, you are becoming the expert because you focus only on their needs and the solutions to those needs. So this is the opportunity to be the expert in the front of the room, to be in front of a lot of different individuals that you can actually show your expertise to. We're going to work the prospecting plan, whatever it is. We want to be able to book appointments right at the seminar or the workshop. We've got to be able to deliver an engaging seminar, and this can be challenging. And in fact, one of the reasons most individuals don't do public speaking, don't do seminars, and the reason behind that for the most part is they're not confident, they're not comfortable with materials, they're not the expert. But when you have already developed your expertise, presenting becomes that much easier. And as I just mentioned, booking the appointments is critical, because if we're not going out to market specifically to book appointments with potential clients, we're wasting our time. So over the next 4 sessions that we're going to do in this workshop, we're going to be talking about the science of referability. But how do we take that science and we put it into practice? What the best of the best, what these world-class financial advisors actually do to become referable. Again, the research shows that most advisors aren't hearing from the people that have been referred to them. They drop off for whatever reason. But if we can make ourselves referable enough, more volume will come and we will see more of those referrals. We're going to look at the introduction methods. We're going to be asking for introductions to specific ideal client individuals. So we're going to look at how we target those individuals, how we ask, and we're going to go through some scripting on asking for those introductions, so that no longer do your clients have to actually try to guess who it is that you want to meet for potential business purposes. And in fact, we know that your clients don't want to be involved whatsoever in the financial lives of their friends, their family, their coworkers. This method of introductions, can you introduce me, or I'd like to introduce myself, alleviates all that burden from your clients, puts it on you. All you're asking for is an introduction, and what we know is most people are very comfortable in making introductions. Then again, we're going to look at the actual structure of setting up a personal networking group, what it takes. Now, this is the slowest of the 4 methodologies that the world-class advisors build to market themselves. But the structure, once in place, becomes self-sustaining, and it creates that referral basis from experts that can lead to a continuous source of referrals. And then finally, we're going to really go deep. We're going to dive deeply into the world of seminar workshops, how you work them, how you set them up, how you make them engaging, how you get in front of a group of people, the people that you want to deal with, your ideal client profile, how you speak to them, engage with them, and let them know that you're their expert, why they should be sitting down with you, why they should be your client. We know, again, that this prospecting dashboard that these world-class advisors use keeps their businesses growing. Again, if the business isn't growing, it's dying. So what we're looking at is this genius on 2 levels. Genius in prospecting, building the business, everything to do with our business structure, genius on self, and all of the confidence that goes with that. So remember, you need to be better than your competition, which truly isn't difficult. Most individuals in our industry aren't students of the business, sadly. The best of the best are. They continuously study. They read finance, they read psychology, they read history, they read sales skills. They know what they're doing because they constantly reinvent themselves to the way that the industry changes. So we need to be better than the competition. Setting yourself up from a personal confidence level, from a business confidence level, allows you to compete confidently, and you need to go to market knowing that. So look forward to seeing you next time when we're really going to dig deeply into how to become referable. We'll see you then.